Hello and welcome to Firstpost America. I'm Eric Hammond. We're live in the nation's capital of Washington, D.C. And today it's Donald Trump versus everyone else. We'll take you through it all, as well as other stories from the United States and around the world. But before that, here's a look at the latest headlines. President Donald Trump says Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will visit the White House on Friday to sign a minerals deal after reports suggest an agreement has been reached. Russia launches a barrage of 177 drones on Ukraine, killing one in the Kyiv region and damaging an energy facility. Ukraine's air defenses managed to shoot down 110 of the drones. A military plane crashes in the residential neighborhood on the outskirts of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, killing at least 46, including several officers. The Chilean government lifts the state of emergency hours after the country suffered one of the worst blackouts in over a decade. And South Korea's birth rate increases for the first time in nearly a decade as a surge in marriages raises hope of ending the country's demographic crisis. We begin in Washington, and Elon Musk has issued a second ultimatum to federal workers, saying they have one more chance to justify their jobs or else they'll be fired. Now, this comes days after issuing the unusual order the first time, which was roundly rejected by agencies, including Trump's own cabinet secretaries. In a social media post last week, Musk asked government employees to either list 5 achievements from their previous week within 48 hours or risk losing their jobs. The ultimatum to reduce the federal workforce left the 2 million employees confused, anxious, and furious. Some even took legal action over the mass accountability email. Meanwhile, several agencies, including the FBI, the Department of State, the Department of Defense, asked their employees not to respond to the message. However, the severe backlash has not halted efforts for a response.
This is a critical moment in the American journey. Everything we care about is under assault. The economy is under assault. The safety net is under assault. Our very way of life as a country is under assault. Democracy itself is under assault.
In all the different things that Donald Trump has cut, the one thing that hasn't gotten cut is the cost of eggs, or the cost of housing, or the cost of health care. So there's a saying in labor about people. We need to be united. We need to have each other's back. We need to fight on behalf of every American. That is what everyone here is doing.
Now, after the world's richest man's repeated warnings, a post has gone viral on social media platform X. It shows a purported screenshot of a government employee's email to Human Resources. Instead of sending the work report, the employee mentioned explicit details of their personal activities in 4 points. The employee also signed the mail with a message featuring the F word. The post, which has garnered nearly 15 million views, also drew the attention of Elon Musk himself. Reacting sarcastically to the viral screenshot, Musk said he asked for 5 accomplishments, but the employee only listed 4. The tug of war between Elon Musk and federal employees comes amid controversy around Doge's direct involvement with the government. And President Donald Trump has defended Musk's approach towards slashing the government workforce.
He wanted to know what you did this week. You know why he wanted that, by the way? I thought it was great, because we have people that don't show up to work and nobody even knows that they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist. They're trying to, that's how badly various parts of our government were run by, and especially by this last group.
And now in the week since President Trump assumed office, more than 28,000 federal workers have reportedly been removed so far. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is set to attend the president's first cabinet meeting today in a display of his enormous influence in the Trump administration. And staying in the United States, a close advisor of President Donald Trump has proposed expelling Canada from the Five Eyes intelligence alliance. According to the Financial Times, Peter Navarro, Trump's senior advisor for trade and manufacturing, is seeking Ottawa's removal. Navarro's suggestion is a move to exert more pressure on Canada to stop the flow of illegal migrants and drugs into the U.S. President Trump continues to threaten Ottawa with 25% tariffs, which he says will be imposed as soon as March 4th.
Time with the tariffs, and it seems like that's moving along very rapidly. We've been mistreated very badly by many countries, not just Canada and Mexico. We've been taken advantage of. We were led by, in some cases, fools, because anybody that would sign documents like they signed, where they were able to take advantage of the American people, like has happened over the last long period of time, except for a little 4-year period that took place 4 years ago. But anybody that would agree to allow this to happen to our country should be ashamed of themselves. No, the tariffs are going forward on time, on schedule.
Now, Donald Trump has repeatedly mocked Canada that it should become the 51st state of the United States. And earlier this month, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was caught on a hot mic warning that President Trump's ambition to absorb Canada was more than just bluster. Now, this all comes as the Prime Minister is set to leave office on March 9th, leaving a scramble to fill the void.
Trump is posing the gravest challenge our country has faced since the Second World War. He's threatening us with economic warfare. That's not new. Last time, he threatened to rip up NAFTA, and he imposed tariffs on our steel and aluminum. I fought back, and I won. This time, Trump's threats are even worse. He wants to make us the 51st state. Trump is unleashed and empowered. As your prime minister, I will be too.
Now, apart from the United States and Canada, the Five Eyes alliance also includes the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. Formed after World War II, Five Eyes refers to the group of intelligence agencies of these nations. The alliance is said to be the world's most successful in history. A Five Eyes intelligence official said forcing Canada out could prove to be very dangerous for the other nations involved. But Navarro has dismissed the reports of him proposing Canada's expulsion from the alliance.
My view is that we should never have to comment on any story where it's based on unnamed sources. We would never, ever jeopardize our national security, ever, with allies like Canada, ever.
However, if the reports hold true, pushing Canada out of the alliance could put the other Four Eyes in severe jeopardy. And staying with the Trump administration, in another major crackdown on transgender athletes, the State Department has now reportedly ordered officials to deny visas to trans players and impose lifetime bans on those who misrepresent their birth on sex on applications. According to the directive, which was obtained by The Guardian, visa officers will now enforce a permanent fraud bar under the Immigration and Nationality Act. The provision triggers a near irreversible ban from the country. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued the order weeks after President Donald Trump signed an executive action banning transgender women from competing in female sports.
In cases where applicants are suspected of misrepresenting their purpose of travel or sex, you should consider whether this misrepresentation is material such that it supports an ineligibility finding.
The Commander-in-Chief also instructed Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem to ensure visa denials for men attempting to fraudulently enter the United States while identifying themselves as women athletes ahead of the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics. Last month, the State Department froze all applications for passports with X gender markers that mandates all government-issued identification documents to reflect an individual's immutable biological classification as either male or female.
In Los Angeles in 2028, my administration will not stand by and watch men beat and batter female athletes, and we're just not going to let it happen, and it's going to end, and it's ending right now, and nobody's going to be able to do a damn thing about it, because when I speak, we speak with authority.
The policy extends beyond the Olympics, impacting several women's leagues along with future international competitions in the U.S. And visa officers are also instructed to scrutinize birth certificates when discrepancies arise and label such cases with SWS25 for tracking.
It's normal to say that people accused of fraud or misrepresentation are often considered to be ineligible. It's usually a case-by-case determination. But it is quite bizarre and novel in a terrible way to be saying it's based on their misrepresenting their sex or gender in order to come and participate in an event in the United States.
And not just professional sports, but the president's order also directs the Department of Education to investigate high schools that allow transgender athletes in girls' sports. And schools violating Title IX regulations could also lose federal funding. The International Olympic Committee has responded very cautiously, stating it will continue discussions with U.S. authorities. Meanwhile, Republicans argue the bans protect fairness in women's sports, while LGBTQ+ advocates call them discriminatory.
In the position as leader of the IOC, and other governments, either it be Canada or other nations who have policies on human rights, that this is a time to stand up and to be able to say, we can do better, and we're not going to allow this type of language and this type of behavior to become a vacuum within our communities, let alone in the United States.
And on his first day back in office, President Trump redefined sex as strictly male or female, removing gender identity protections. And with the 2028 Olympics still years away, the global response remains to be seen. And more chaos has erupted in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, as armed gangs stormed the Delmas 30 neighborhood, turning homes into ash and streets into battlegrounds. Over 1 million residents fled in terror, dodging bullets and flames, unsure where safety lay. With the government overwhelmed and police intervention too late, gangs now hold the city in a stranglehold. Haitian gangs continue to terrorize the capital city as police and military intervention struggle to combat the onslaught. Here's more from Port-au-Prince.
The silence in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince, was shattered by gunfire as terror took hold of Delmas 30. On February 25th, armed gangs descended upon the neighborhood, leaving a trail of destruction and death. The once lively streets turned into war zones, pushing families into a frantic exodus.
Look at how the children's mothers and fathers are running around while we're so close to the Americans. If the Americans weren't involved in the plot, they would have sent soldiers to save us.
Panicked and naturally disturbed, the residents fled hastily with big suitcases on their heads, and the air pulsed with cries of anguish.
This is an example. Look at it. I saw a lot of victims in Delmas 30. We are in a difficult situation in my country. We don't know where to go. We run left and right, and gangs still catch up with us. We don't know where to go.
Their desperate calls for help went unanswered, and it was only by afternoon that the armored tanks rumbled into Delmas 30. Soon after which, gunfire erupted between law enforcement and gang members. But the damage had already been done.
What is happening down there is that people are gathering their belongings and running. Unfortunately, they can't sleep at night or during the day. The problem is they are frustrated because the gang is preventing us from living in the area. The government is on the side of the bourgeoisie, this must be said.
Narrating their ordeal, the residents complained that the attack had been long foreseen. For weeks, rumors of a gang takeover swept through the neighborhood, and on February 23rd, the armed men first attempted to invade, sending some fleeing while others clung to fading hope. But even that hope was set ablaze just 2 days later.
Around 15 people died in Delmas 30. I have a friend who sells meat at the Delmas 30 market, and they burned him in front of his child. I know a woman who lived very close to me, and they took her and her child and burned them. Spread the word. Tell the Americans to give us a chance to save Haiti.
This attack deepens an already unbearable crisis. Over 1 million Haitians, which is nearly 10% of the population, have been driven from their homes by gang violence. And in just 1 month, more than 6,000 people in Port-au-Prince were forced to flee, seeking refuge in overcrowded camps or sleeping exposed in the streets.
I'm on the street because of armed gangs. They took my house. I was sheltering in another neighborhood, but they invaded it too. I'm in the street now. I don't know where to go.
The United Nations condemned the carnage, describing the unimaginable horrors on children. In the Caribbean country, the United Nations Children's Fund revealed that the gangs now controlled over 85% of the city, and some 45% of the healthcare facilities are not functional in the metropolitan region.
These kids here, they're the lucky ones, but it cannot be about luck going to school, because this education, as we've heard, education is going to be the sustenance of Haiti. So support and stability gets all the kids here in Port-au-Prince, all the kids in Haiti, back into a classroom.
The government, outgunned and overwhelmed, struggles to rein in the growing anarchy. And with each passing day, hope for peace slips further away. As darkness reclaimed Delmas 30, smoke twisted into the night sky, carrying with it the echoes of a shattered community. Mourning families grieved in silence while the gangs, emboldened and unchecked, tightened their grip on the capital. For the people of Haiti, escape remains a dream. Survival a cruel gamble, and peace an ever-fading memory.
And finally, we continue our look at the red planet Mars. For years, scientists thought they had cracked the mystery of the planet's iconic hue. They blamed it on dry, lifeless rust. But new research suggests the red planet's color might actually be a relic of its wetter past. Could Mars have been more Earth-like than imagined? And what does it all mean for the search for ancient life? The dusty mystery just got a whole lot deeper. Our final report explains.
Mars has captivated human curiosity for centuries. With its striking red hue and dusty, barren landscape, it's no wonder it earned the nickname the Red Planet. Ancient civilizations associated its blood-red glow with war and deities, while modern scientists have sent spacecrafts, rovers, and orbiters to uncover its secrets. But have you ever wondered why Mars is red? Until now, the leading theory suggested that the planet's surface was coated with hematite. It's a waterless form of rust. However, a new research suggests that Mars may have turned red thanks to a different water-containing mineral, potentially rewriting what we know about its history. Mars owes its iconic color to iron oxide, better known as rust. But how did an entire planet get rusted? Scientists long believed that Mars's iron-rich rocks reacted with the atmosphere over billions of years, forming hematite. This then broke down into fine red dust. This dust, carried by Martian winds, coated the entire planet in its signature rusty sheen. But there's a problem. Observation from a spacecraft didn't detect clear evidence of water in Mars's iron oxide deposits. That raised a big question. If rust on Earth forms with the help of water, how did Mars manage to turn red without it? Recent research has turned this theory on its head. Scientists now believe that a different iron oxide called ferrihydrite might be the real culprit. Unlike hematite, ferrihydrite forms quickly in cool water, suggesting that Mars's rusting process may have started when liquid water was still present on its surface. To test their theory, scientists decided to make their own batch of Martian dust. using data from multiple missions, including European Space Agency's Mars Express and NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. They synthesized dust with different iron oxide compositions. Then they ran it through high-tech grinders to match the size of real Martian dust particles, which, for scale, are about 1/100th of the thickness of a human hair. After analyzing their lab-made dust using X-ray machines and reflectance spectrometers similar to instruments used in Mars orbiters, they compared it to the real Mars data. The results? Ferrihydrite, not hematite, was the best match for Mars's red dust. This discovery is a game-changer. If Mars's rust contains water, it means that water was likely widespread on the planet, much later than scientists previously thought. And where there's water, the possibility of past life becomes even more intriguing. The findings suggest that Mars may have started rusting billions of years ago. This aligns with a period when Mars was transitioning from a wet world, with rivers and lakes, to the dry, dusty desert we see today. Scientists believe volcanic activity, melting ice, and water-rock interactions could have created the perfect condition for ferrihydrite formation. To truly crack the mystery, scientists need to analyze real Martian dust in Earth-based labs. Fortunately, NASA's Perseverance rover has already collected samples. Plans are in motion to bring them home through the Mars Sample Return Program. If all goes well, by the early 2030s, we might finally confirm whether Mars's redness is linked to a wetter past, and whether it once had conditions suitable for life. Until then, the red planet continues to keep its secrets, rusting away quietly under a dusty alien sky.
That's First Post America for this Wednesday. I'm Eric Ham, signing off from our studios in Washington, D.C. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.